Like, for instance, Elvis or someone. I believe he wasn't even on TV. The original Elvis or whatever, the king of rock and roll or something, wasn't even on TV. Like, I don't understand how he could be the king of rock and roll when rock and roll was originally on the radio or something like that or whatever. I mean, it was a gyrating hips. They always used to say Elvis, Elvis, or whatever. Um, like I say, about 1,000 people, or about 100,000 million people, and like I say, my football players in in what's it called, the Coliseum, the old Coliseum, the old Roman Coliseum days. My football players were super famous, even way more famous than me, or at least it's very very famous. And I was like, I'm Ellis, I'm Ellis, LS. It's not Ellis, it's LS, Lucifer Star. It was just an easier way because usually people would like, because it's like everyone knew who Lucifer Star was or Lucifer Starline was, and so it was just an easier when I was doing meetings or whatever, talking to people. I'd just be like, just call me Ellis, LS, basically, and for a while there, I had my planes were designated as E for Ellis. I don't really care. It's like whatever. I had to think of a designation or whatever, and so they were E aircraft. Ellis. That's where that comes from. That's where the E comes from. So I was wondering about that. I was like, I want to forget where the E comes from. Oh, that's right. People used to call me Ellis. And I told people, I was like, just call me Ellis because whenever I said Lucifer Starline, everybody was like, you're Starline? It's like, yeah, I'm Lucifer Starline. So, but I never actually talked to anyone directly. I just, whatever, patch me through, you know, that kind of thing, and do the meetings and all that other stuff. Like that's why Germany was actually doing a lot of my bookkeeping and stuff and record keeping, and that's why people, record keeping plus also money handling and all that stuff, basically record keeping. So like I say, and somebody was trying to give my fortune or whatever, give everything to Adolf Hitler or something like that, or Adolf Himmler, saying that he owned Germany. It was like, I bought it and I had receipts for that, and everyone knew that I bought Germany and I was building Germany as well. So, and I mortgaged Germany against Panama Canal because I needed the money or needed the people and blah blah, and so blah blah, and later on I paid them back or paid it back, by I was having metal and material shipped to Germany overseas, from basically or material shipped to Germany from basically the Panama Canal because it was good iron ore or good ore basically that was being smelted and being made into other things. So anyway, and Germany became very very technically and production orientated and all that. So production orientated and technology orientated that they weren't growing enough food, and so there was a problem. They were getting too advanced too quickly or something like that. I don't know. So they were having a slight problem with that. Anyway, I don't know. I don't really care. It's like, well, I'm an epic civilization builder, and I don't really need like 4 or 5 different life form types or 4 or 5 different civilizations to build like one. So, like, I mean, I could have just done it with just America. I could have just done it with just the Mexicans. I could have just done it with just the Irish. The Irish were actually a very good group, very amazing group. Like I said, the Irish. I mean, they worked really hard, and they really put their backs into it. Like I said, that's why I say Chinese or Asians basically, and Irish, and probably some Germans or whatever, some other people, and also like India was mostly doing fabric and stuff like that. And, we all played a part or role, in basically civilization. So and lots of people made made lots of little children and stuff like that. So but a few of them were trying to make more children than other people, and that led into basically the whole like, I'm going to outpopulation you with my offspring and be more popular than Ellis or Lucifer Star. And my children will run the government or run the blah, blah, blah. It's like whatever. You're strange. Okay, Mister. Not quite so. I'll never die. I'll never grow old, but my children will. Okay, weird. You're just weird. Yeah. Or my truth will be more truthful than you, or my truth will make more sense than yours does. It's like, yeah, okay, try and rationalize 100 million, 100 trillion years. Good luck with that. Yeah, I was out in space cruising between stars for over 150 million years one time, or some great amount of time. So, yeah. Yeah, if they look back at all, they're going to notice me somewhere. Like everyone, and besides, everyone would stop by me. Ships would pass by, blah blah. Everyone knew who I was and what I was. And it's like, yeah, I'm harmless. For the most part, I was harmless until I bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And it's like, I'm sorry about that, Japanese. Like I said, my dishonor on my part. So I apologize. That was over. But like I said, they were trying to frame me using my own records and my own information, my own films and stuff like that. Yeah, but there's lots of films of like Germans and Americans and Germans and English and Germans and Japanese, or Japanese and Americans, all working together. It's like it wasn't until like some point in time that they were trying to do like war, and they were trying to like isolate and whatever. It's like it wasn't me. It may be my fault because I had all these war aircraft and weapons and all this other stuff. But like I said, the ICBMs didn't even carry people at first. I mean, didn't even carry missiles and bombs at first. They were people. They were just spaceships, basically. Anyway, whatever. Maybe that's why they call it the Minutemen, because they could go anywhere. And well, it takes longer than a minute though. So I think like 5 or 10 minutes. I don't know, 30 minutes to get around the world. Anyway, whatever. I don't know. And I think there's just the president or the leader that wanted to be able to blast off and be able to, in case blah blah or something. It's like, okay, you're crazy again. Damn crazy people. Planning to get their own country nuked or something. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know. I wasn't a part of the craziness. That was all. That's why it's not politics. It's not this. It's not that. It's all bullshit. It's all based on bribes and whatever, and basically chopping off arms. The whole Nixon presidency was based on chopping off arms in China and all kinds of stuff. Like I said, arm chopping off Nixon. I was wondering who chopped off all the arms, and the Chinese were like, we didn't do it, and somebody was trying to blame the Chinese for chopping off arms or something like that, or call it one of their punishments, but they said they didn't do it. So, and I believe them, they didn't do it. So anyway, and it turned out it was Nixon and the Republicans, basically. Nixon and the Republicans. Da 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 da. Yeah, and the Republican militia. Everyone remembered the Republican militia, and like I said, the Republicans changed their name like 2 or 3 times. JFK or Nixon, he was pretending to be the Anglars of whatever. They just walked into the building, killed all the Anglars, and basically then continued on as the Anglars. And realistically, they're just trying to get the Anglars accounts and all that stuff. So they just killed all the people and then continued on to the Anglars, which maybe segued into the KKK. Ku Klux Klan, or whatever. It's just a bunch of psychotic people killing a bunch of people and living and dying, and their children. They're like, you must never tell the truth. The flags must never go home to China or to Japan, because they'll maybe know about the fact that we submerged the submarines and drowned all those people. So, well. Anyway, your father might have been right. Those Japanese and Chinese people signed those flags, in glory and happiness, and for a job well done or completion of something. And it was their family or their workers that would sign those flags, and they still do it today. And then they would ship out on a ship or whatever else like that, and then, dun dun dun, the wolf pack of the civilian submarines, JFK, Jimmy Carter, and John McCain, to the Bermuda Triangle, where they would separate the men and women. And then the men would just be drowned. The men would stay up on the deck. The women would go inside the ship, inside the submarine, and where they'd be handcuffed to the bunks. And then they would submerge the submarine with the men still up there on the tops. And then they would rape the women profusely until they got tired of them. And then they would throw them out of the conning towers of the submarines onto the decks, where they would break their leg, and then eventually their bodies would wash ashore with broken legs, and people were wondering how these people who were drowned had broken legs. And they would always say, another beachgoer drowned, blah, blah, blah. Something like that. It's like, yeah, and she has a broken ankle. Gee, I wonder how that happened. Maybe off of a 30-foot conning tower, a 12-foot conning tower on a submarine before it submerged out from under her. And you call yourself American and whatever, heroes. You're shit. Your father was shit. Your mother might have been raped, or she might be shit too. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he did tell her. Who knows? Sorry. Hate to break it to you. Your daddy was a piece of shit rapist that submerged the submarines out from underneath all those people and drowned them. In the Bermuda Triangle. So, whatever. What am I supposed to do about it? I had fleets of submarines looking for these pieces of shit inside the water. It got so bad that they locked up a bunch of Japanese and put the Japanese in the subs to try and make it look like it was the Japanese that were actually going after these ships. It was people from Texas or one of these places, and they talked about how the submarine came up and surfaced by a pier, and then they were getting people to go back inside the submarine and demand the submarine. So whatever. Your whole Congress and whatever, I found out eventually. That's why they didn't want me to live, because they knew I would know.